Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurumritam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vande Aham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijan Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishavanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhubhaiva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for joining early. First couple of quick announcements. So I have on the screen my spiritual master, His Grace Vaishyadas Adhikari, and his wife Guruma, Mother Nirukula, will be visiting Toronto Temple from Thursday, August 21st to Wednesday, August 27th. There will be Bhagavatam classes every morning from about 7:45 a.m. onwards. Should be streamed live on Facebook or Zoom, either way or both. I will share links in the chats, in the WhatsApp groups. Now Thursday, there is a Disciple Sangha and Vyasa Puja within the Disciple Sangha. So I'm waiting to clarify whether all devotees will be able to attend the Vyasa Puja. Normally we do Vyasa Puja to a picture of Guru Maharaj, but this time he personally is present and the Vyasa Puja is to him personally. So it's a very good opportunity. Of course, there'll be services on all these days from early morning throughout the days. I have times here. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, there is Sankirtan training. Everybody who has not attended should attend, or even if you have attended, you should try to refresh, because this training is directly by Guru Maharaj on how to do book distribution. And on Saturday, there will be actual book distribution outing with Guru Maharaj. So I will post fine-tuned messages as we get closer to the events. Everybody can please take a snapshot of what we have on the screen and try to attend as much as is possible for you. And those who are in Toronto and around area should let me know about which days you are available for services. I will anyway post messages in the local group that we have for services. And if anybody wants a one-on-one meeting with Guru Maharaj, can let me know. I can ask. Now, meetings generally happen on Thursday, Friday, and on the screen I only have schedule up to Sunday. So the following Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, there are no events planned per se right now. Potentially meetings will happen on the following Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So if anybody interested to meet Guru Maharaj, you can please let me know. Or if devotees can please plan, all the local devotees can please plan to meet with Guru Maharaj collectively and tell him what all you are doing for your spiritual path, on your spiritual path, what all you are studying, services, and ask for some spiritual guidance. Any questions, comments, realizations? So next 2 weeks, we will not have classes because on next Saturday, 16th of August, is Janmashtami at most of the temples around the world. Many would like to attend the temple and do services, as well as what we have on the screen. For 23rd, I will be occupied with services for my Guru Maharaj, so I won't be. So 2 weeks, we will not have classes. You can use the time to get caught up, whatever is pending for you. And I will, of course, send Prabhupada lecture also in the chats so that you can continue to use the same time for Krishna. Are we all on the same page? Any questions, comments, realizations? All right. So today we will discuss chapter 10 Bhagavad Gita from verse number 15 onwards, and we'll aim to finish this chapter 10. It's a very practical discussion that we'll be having today in terms of how to realize Krishna's presence around us 24 hours. So we'll start from verse number 15 onwards. Annapurni, 15 and 16 translation.
Take Krishna Bhakti. Just 1 moment, please. Hare Krishna, verse number 15. Indeed, you alone know yourself by your own internal potency, O Supreme Person, origin of all, Lord of all beings, God of gods, Lord of the universe. Text 16. Please tell me in detail of your divine opulences by which you pervade all these words. Hare Krishna.
So last class, we already read verse number 16 purport. Anybody remembers what we read from verse number 16? What is the nature of a devotee? Somebody remembers? We had a great discussion on that. All right, everybody should try to remember what we discussed and participate. So we discussed that Arjuna has already accepted Krishna's message. And from 10.12 onwards, Arjuna has become fully enlightened. But Arjuna is thinking for common people as to how do common people like me can be elevated on the path of Krishna consciousness. And therefore, Arjuna will make a request in the upcoming 2 verses in terms of how to remember Krishna 24 hours. Deepa, 17 and 18 translation.
Sorry. Wait 1 second. O Krishna, O Supreme Mystic, how shall I constantly think of you, and how shall I know you? In what various forms are you to be remembered, O Supreme Personality of Godhead? O Janardana, again please describe in detail the mystic power of your opulences. I am never satiated in hearing about you, for the more I hear, the more I want to taste the nectar of your words.
So Arjuna's request is crystal clear, and he's asking this for ordinary people, that how shall I know you, O Supreme Personality of Godhead? And how can I think of you constantly? Now, Arjuna's question is very specific, that generally our journey to spirit does not happen spontaneously, at least for majority of them does not happen spontaneously. We generally move from matter to spirit in our own observations from this world. Hence, Arjuna is requesting Krishna to please give us a process by which we can understand him, we can remember him, can perceive his presence all around us 24 hours. So in verse number 18, Arjuna says, I am never satiated hearing about you. So please speak more and more and more. The nature of Krishna Katha is that it gives us more and more nectar constantly. At every time we read Bhagavad Gita, we get new meanings because it is Krishna also who reveals newer meanings. Hence, there is no end to that relishing, even though we are reading the same Bhagavad Gita every time. So once we start developing taste for Krishna Katha, then that taste goes on and on and on and on. And similar to Arjuna describing in verse number 18 that he is never satiated, that same consciousness is also expressed by the sages of Naimisharanya and Srimad Bhagavatam, the very start in Canto 1, Chapter 1, it's verse 16 and 19. Of course, the collective verses also. That we are never tired of hearing Krishna Katha. We just want to continue to hear Krishna Katha. So by gradual purification, the taste of Krishna Katha will come and become stronger. The taste grows stronger and stronger. Now, for a devotee, externally may seem to be doing the exact same activity every day, worshipping the same Gopinath, chanting the same Hare Krishna Mahamantra, hearing the same pastimes, reading the same Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Looks like externally I'm doing the exact same activity. So how am I relishing? But it is internals that are new. Internals are new because by hearing Krishna Katha, impurities go away and we connect more and more with Krishna. Because Krishna is unlimited, hence the joy we get from connection with Krishna is also unlimited. Unless one experiences the joy internally, one will not be able to understand and sustain this. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives the example that it will be like trying to lick honey bottle from outside. Well, you are not going to get the taste of honey by licking the honey bottle. And in Bhagavad Gita, Sanjaya also demonstrates the same point in chapter 18, verse 76-77. He says, hearing this message again and again, he has used the word again and again multiple times, that if you read here Bhagavad Gita again and again and again, you get newer and newer realizations. Questions, comments, realizations? Srivatsa Prabhu.
Yes, Hare Krishna Prabhu. I was wondering whether there is a rasa differentiation between joy, happiness, and bliss, because these words come, they mention quite a bit in a lot of them.
Rasa does not differ. Degree of happiness and joy will differ. So rasa is same. You have one of the primary rasa that does not change. And you can get rasa you can get joy in any of the rasas.
Okay, but is one higher and the other lower? Like, is joy higher than happiness or bliss higher than...
So bliss is of course the highest.
Mhm.
Joy and happiness are one and same. Bliss is definitely the highest state.
Okay. Okay, Prabhu. Thank you.
All right. So Arjuna asked specific inquiry in 1718 to Krishna that how can I know you all the time? How can I perceive your presence all the time? Therefore, this section 4, verses 19 to 42, title is How to Know Krishna Through His Vibhuti. So Krishna will explain how to perceive Krishna's presence all around us through the Vibhutis in the material world. So have undivided attention about this Vibhuti. I will lay the heavy foundation. A Vibhuti is one among the many, one above the many. I'll keep repeating this punchline multiple times. That Vibhuti is one among the many, one above the many. One among the many and one above the many. So Vibhuti Yoga uses one among the many to take us to one above the many. Dara, read verse 19 translation.
Hare Krishna. Text 19. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Yes, I will tell you of my splendorous manifestations, but only of those which are prominent, O Arjun, for my opulence is limitless. Hare Krishna.
So at our last class, we discussed earlier that how Arjuna is pumping up his friend by exaggeration. And we had a practical exercise on this. Now, if you continue that discussion, here's a question for all of you. Is verse 19 an egoistic statement? Read verse 19 in a puffed up manner. Krishna is saying, yes, I will tell you my splendorous manifestation. But you know what? That they are limitless. I will tell you a few of them. So a question for all of you, is verse 19 an egoistic statement? Everybody, please try to answer.
No, Prabhu.
Why not?
Because the Bhagavad Gita is not on the material plane.
Yeah.
Ego
Yeah,
is a material.
yeah, understand. Put on your preaching hat. Explain this to an ordinary person on the street. Ask him to read verse number 19. What is he going to say? Annapurni?
I think it's more out of excitement and eagerness because he knows that the material souls are full of ignorance, and this is what he wants to know, so the material, the Atmas know who he is and go back to him.
Okay. Sumnima?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, maybe, no, because ego is something, if we do not have it, that is when it could turn into an ego. And here, Krishna has everything what he says and is telling it to Arjuna because he knows that he'd understand and not understand, but he would be equally excited to know more about him.
Yeah, put on your preaching hat. Look from ordinary people in the material world. Say tomorrow you are going out on preaching and you ask ordinary people to read verse number 19. What is he going to think? Doesn't it look like an egoistic statement? You know what? I will tell you few. Well, my opulences are limitless, but I will tell you a few. Doesn't it sound like an egoistic statement, Sumniva? Others?
I know it's not egoistic statement, but I'm not able to answer to your question
All
properly.
right. Okay. Rest of you?
Prabhuji, it's a very hard question to answer. So
Well, That's my role. So when my questions cause waves in your heart, understand that purification is happening. So that's my purpose, to cause waves in your heart. Deepa.
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you.
Pratish Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I think if this statement is seen from the perspective of a normal common man, it might come across as egoistic. However, it's Krishna, and Krishna is saying his opulence is limitless. So for someone, like you said, like a layman who has limited senses, to grasp the entirety of Krishna can be challenging. So I'd say, Krishna just gives himself to a limit, like to some options, so that our limited senses of the human mind can comprehend.
Yeah. So how do you explain this to ordinary people? That Krishna is saying, oh, you know what? my my opulences are limitless, but I will tell you a few. Well, just because you are asking. Like read that in the tone that I am speaking. That if you read verse number 19 in that strong tone, or in a tone of somebody having that high ego, we read in that tone that he says, I will tell you few of my splendorous manifestations, but you know what? My opulences are limitless. Doesn't that sound like egoistic?
Yes, Prabhuji, that particular tone does sound egoistic, but I think if it's Krishna, then probably ego is not involved. But
So
yeah,
understand, again, put on your preaching hat, that ordinary people, they don't know who Krishna is, right? And if they happen to read this verse number 19, and they will say, well, this is some egoistic person talking, this is not God. Rest of you, Megha, does that clarify the question?
Yes, Prabhuji.
What's your answer?
So yes, I feel that ego thing will definitely appear if we are not aware about him, because it will feel that he's just willing to share few of them because he have many. He's very overconfident about his many things. If we take it as a common.
Yeah, so how will you explain it to common people? So tomorrow somebody will ask you, you are studying Bhagavad Gita, so tell me how is God speaking like this egoistic statement? What will you say? That's our purpose of studying.
Yeah.
Rest of you who have not answered yet, want to know the answer? Anybody?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
So I'm not exaggerating that when you try to do preaching, you will come across many people in the material world. They will actually say, you know what, Krishna is like boasting. They actually say this word when you show them Bhagavad Gita. So if somebody says this to you, that this verse number 19 is an egoistic statement, or how do you understand when Krishna is saying that my glories are endless? How do you explain this to common people? So the answer is that important to understand is the context to which Krishna is speaking. And if we think Krishna is proud or Krishna is some egoistic person, then show them the most common Bhagavad Gita picture that we know of, that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, and look what he is doing. He has accepted the lower position of a charioteer. An egoistic person will never be able to take such a low position. That itself tells you that Krishna is not talking out of ego. Rather, Krishna is answering Arjuna's request. So the image that we have on the screen of Krishna becoming the charioteer for Arjuna is among my favorite images. You can show it to ordinary people. This is among the most common picture on the cover page of Bhagavad Gita, that he is Supreme Personality of Godhead. Look what he is doing. How can you call such a person as an egoistic person? So he is not egoistic person. The context is that actions speak louder than words. Krishna's actions is that he is becoming servant of his devotee and taking menial position of a charioteer. A status-hungry person will never take a position like that of a charioteer. You can look at rich people around the world. They have people driving them and flying them, but they will never take a position like that of a charioteer. So Krishna is answering Arjuna's specific questions, plus Krishna is giving an opportunity to redirect our attraction from material to the Lord. Krishna says, whatever attractiveness you find in this world is coming just from a tiny spark of me. I will show you a visual for that tiny spark very soon today. That what is this tiny spark Krishna talking about? That everything, like zillions and zillions and zillions of beautiful things that we have in the material world, that are coming from a tiny spark of Krishna. If spark can give a little bit of light, little bit of enjoyment, well, the whole sun, meaning Krishna, the whole Krishna can give much more light and much more enjoyment. So all these beautiful things in this material world are coming from a tiny spark of Krishna. And Krishna is the whole source. Thus, Krishna is saying that I can give you far greater attachment and enjoyment than what a tiny spark can give you from the material world. Therefore, for this purpose, Krishna is speaking about his opulences. Everybody clear? Everybody on the same page in terms of somebody asks you this question about Krishna being egoistic person?
Prabhuji, can you explain again, please?
So Krishna is answering Arjuna's questions to give an opportunity to redirect our attraction from material to the Lord. Plus, actions speak louder than words, that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he has taken a menial position of a charioteer to become servant of his devotee. The action itself is crystal clear that an egoistic person will never take the lowest position, the menial position of a charioteer. So all the zillions of things that we have in the material world, beautiful things that we get attracted to, or beautiful persons that we get attracted to, or sports stars and film stars and big ships and whatnot, and big buildings and whatnot. All these beautiful manifestations in the material world are coming from a tiny spark of Krishna. I'm soon going to show you that tiny spark. So Krishna is saying that if a tiny spark can manifest so many zillions of things in the material world, I as a whole can give you far more greater happiness. And therefore, Krishna is giving us a process to redirect our attraction from material to the Lord. Deepa?
Thanks, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Everybody on the same page? All right. Now, I'll continue my heavy discussion on Vibhuti Yoga. So the extent of our disease is the extent of our attraction to the things in this material world. Misdirection of our desires from God to things of this world without seeing their connection to God is the cause of my suffering. And redirection of our desires from matter to spirit is what is required through philosophical understanding. And Krishna is offering that philosophical understanding to us in these verses 19 to 42 of chapter 10. Now, Krishna will not give a list of everything. Rather, Krishna will give details of principle or prominent vibhutis so that he can teach the principle to us, to demonstrate and emphasize the principle that how to move from the material world attraction to being attracted to Krishna. Now, what does vibhuti mean? Bhuta or bhuti means existence, and vibhuti means special existence. So the prefix V generally refers to Vishesha or something special. So Vibhuti is something special. Now, example, a log of wood. Well, the log of wood would be sitting everywhere in the material world. You are not attracted to the log of wood. It's bhuta. A log of wood is not Vibhuti. But if a designer a table is carved out or a designer lamp is carved out from that log of wood, then it becomes attractive. It becomes vibhuti. So vibhuti means those material things, those bhutis that are vishesha, means that have special attraction. Krishna will explain that these vibhutis in the material world that attract our attraction anyway by default, these can be connected with Krishna so that we become attracted to Krishna using these things in the material world instead of being attracted to these things in the material world. So vibhuti is extraordinary material manifestation, and yoga means connection. Therefore, chapter 10 is titled Vibhuti Yoga or Opulence of the Absolute. Now the question becomes, how does Vibhuti bring about yoga? So example, you can say a giant building or a giant ship or a famous sports star or a famous film star. So many of them, or even a beautiful flower, all these in the material world attract our attraction. But when we understand philosophically that these vibhutis, the zillions of them, are coming from a tiny spark of Krishna, then that Krishna connection, that perception of Krishna connection becomes the yoga. Yoga means to connect. So you are using the material world manifestations to connect with Krishna. Now, example, a famous movie star or a famous sports star, whatever sport you like, people are attracted to these movie stars and film stars. Now, that beauty of the movie star is a vibhuti. That special ability of a sports star is a vibhuti. But if that vibhuti does not remind people of Krishna, that does not lead to yoga. Rather, it leads to bhoga or sense gratification. But when one understands that various attractive manifestations in this world, they are reflecting or they are manifesting just from a tiny spark of Krishna, well then, how beautiful that whole Krishna will be. When there is this Krishna connection from Vibhuti to Krishna, then that will lead to yoga. This connection is what Krishna is highlighting here in this chapter 10 from verses 19 to 42 about Vibhutis, about Vibhuti Yoga. So all these zillions of manifestations in the material world, they naturally attract our attention. Therefore, these can be used as an impetus to remember Krishna. So purpose is to focus on Krishna, not on the specific manifestation. Now, many of you already completed the spiritual endeavor for verses 21 to 24 by being creative and drawing. I will soon show you on the screen. So all of you take a minute and read verses 21 to 24. What is common across these verses? Everybody quickly take a minute. Read 21 to 24 or even one or two verses and tell me what is common across these verses. Sumnima?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Krishna is saying how he is the best among the things that is out there.
Okay, very good. Rest of you, what is common?
We are trying to understand who Krishna is, or Krishna is explaining more about in what form we can see him. I am this, I am, like explaining all his different nature or forms.
Yeah, don't focus on the individual. Focus on a high level principle. So how Sumnima pointed out correctly, Megha is saying I am. Right? What is the common thing that you are seeing? Srivatsa?
He is proposing his opulence or his vibhuti.
Okay.
Why he's different from the rest.
Okay. Anupumi?
He's there everywhere.
Okay.
And
Okay. Janisha?
Hare Krishna. So Krishna is pointing out the most prominent entity in each group of
Okay, very good.
representation.
Yeah, very good. Deepa?
Krishna is saying he's among all the living entities.
Very good. So many of you are on the right track. So if you follow a template, all these verses from verse number 20 onwards, they follow a template that among these, I am this. If you just follow this high level template, he keeps repeating this verse after verse after verse after verse. And even within the verses, there are many points that among these, I am this. Among these, I am this. This is the high level principle. So when Krishna says, I am these, what does it actually mean? So Vibhuti can be understood in one sentence. Vibhuti is one among the many, one above the many. So among the many material manifestations, one is special. Therefore, Vibhuti is one among the many. So Krishna says, among these, I am this. So he's trying to specify a Vishesha or a special category. If you take an example, say cricket. Everybody can play cricket. Not just the cricketers who represent India or the respective countries. If you go to India, all the billion plus people, everybody can play cricket. But within cricket, there are special players. Like you have Bumrah, Kohli, Dhoni, Tendulkar, Gavaskar, Kapil Dev. There are many. All these are special players, right? These are Vishesha. Or if you look at other sports, say tennis, everybody can play tennis, but then Federer is special, right? So this way you can take all sports, and that's what Krishna is saying, that among these, I am these. He's trying to highlight a Vishesha or specialty among these zillions of beautiful manifestations we have in the world. That among the many material manifestations, one is special. Therefore, Vibhuti is one among the many. And we have to use this one among the many to go to one above the many, that is Supreme Lord. So Vibhuti Yoga enables us to connect or use the one among the many to be able to connect to one above the many. One above the many is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is transcendental. He exists at spiritual level. The Supreme Lord is all attractive. And one would really want to be attracted to him. What Vibhuti Yoga does is that it uses one among the many, means the zillions of beautiful things that we are attracted to in the material world. Vibhuti Yoga uses these material beautiful manifestations to enable us to go to one above the many. Now this one among the many is a particular material manifestation of the Lord. Example, someone is extraordinary in this world. You will see someone have brilliant skills, or even sports stars. They have brilliant abilities. So all these are material manifestations of the Lord. Now, some people, they will call a powerful cricketer, they may call him as God. That cricketer has talent or extraordinary abilities or extraordinary records. Hence, that cricketer is one among the many. I'm using cricket as an example. You can take it as any sport that you would be following. That sports star with extraordinary abilities is one among the many. Now, materialistic people, they see this one among the many and they get attracted to this one among the many. But when this one among the many, means this special sports star, loses his power, then people say, you know what, you should retire now. So when one makes human beings as God for his extraordinary talents, but those extraordinary talents cannot go on forever. Their opulence is coming just from a tiny spark of the whole Krishna. And that tiny spark is expanded in zillions and zillions and zillions of beautiful manifestations in the material world. Therefore, what we need to do is we need to move from the spark to the whole Krishna using these zillions of beautiful manifestations in the world. Now, question becomes that how do we move from the spark to the whole world? The answer is by connection that is established through the Vibhuti Yoga. When we understand that so-and-so person's talent, means so-and-so superstar's talent, have come from a tiny spark of Supreme Lord, and Supreme Lord is all attractive. His beauty is manifested in the material world from a tiny spark. So Krishna is using this point that let one among the many take us to one beyond the many, because that one among the many, the beautiful manifestation in the material world, is a manifestation coming from a tiny spark of Krishna. So that special person, that special sports star, that beautiful manifestation, that Vibhuti will not take us to Krishna. No, that Vibhuti is still material. It is we who take our consciousness to Krishna using the material world manifestations, from being attracted to that superstar or that manifestation, who is one among the many, who is special among all these at the material level. From there, we go to the spiritual level to one above the many. Now, one among the many means that superstar, that person, that beautiful thing is also material, also at material level like all of us. One above the many refers to Supreme Personality of Godhead, that person who is transcendental. From one among the many to one above the many is how Vibhuti Yoga elevates us. Everybody with me? I have still a lot of talking to do. Questions, comments, realizations? All right. So I'm going to show you what is this Krishna talking about, this spark. So let's first go to chapter 10, verses 40, 41, and 42. We'll first read the end verses and then come back and connect all the dots. Diksha will read chapter 10, verse 40, 41, 42 translations.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. O mighty conqueror of enemies, there is no end to my divine manifestation. What I have spoken to you is but a mere indication of my infinite opulences. Verse 41. Know that all opulent, beautiful, and glorious creations spring from but a spark of my splendor. Verse 42. But what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. Hare Krishna.
Undivided attention. Hare Krishna, thank you. So Krishna says that all this beautiful zillions of beautiful material manifestations are coming from a tiny spark of me. And from that tiny spark, I am sustaining these infinite universes. So I'm going to show you that tiny spark right now. So on the screen, I have a Goloka chart. Now this chart is a wall-size page with a print of 0.5 font size, has a lot of information. Focus on what I want to show you. So at the bottom, you see this circle. This is one universe. And I'll show you other visuals for all of this. Here is Mahavishnu. All these bubbles are infinite universes emanating from Mahavishnu. This one planet in between is the planet of Sadashiva. You can see half of the planet is glowing and half of the planet is black, because half of the planet is in the spiritual world and half of the planet is in the material world. So this dividing line which splits the Sadashiva planet is Brahma Jyoti. Brahma Jyoti is a dividing line between material and spiritual worlds. Brahma Jyoti is not just one line, it's a very big space with a lot of planets. I will show you visuals for all this coming along. Now this big set of planets in blue is Vaikuntha planets. There are a lot of planets. It's not one planet. Vaikuntha planets are a lot of planets. And this set of planets in pink is Goloko Vrindavan. So I showed you this is entire creation. I will connect all the dots very soon. Just play along with me right now. I will now show you one universe. So this is one universe. One universe is of 14 plates, and the bubbles I showed you, which you also see in the background. All these bubbles are each universes. They are constructed identically in terms of 14 plates. Each universe has infinite planets. And if I zoom in here closely, we are on the 7th plate. It says here, you are here. This is Earth. So all the planets that we know, such as Mars, Venus, Jupiter, etc., they are all on this 7th plate. There are planets on lower plates, and they go all the way to Patal, which are hellish planets. And then there are planets above our plate, which are, say, heaven, etc., or going all the way top to Satyaloka, which is Brahmaloka. So this is just one universe, and there are infinite such universes. And all these universes and all the beautiful manifestations within infinite universes, infinite planets, they are all coming from a tiny spark of Krishna. So what is that tiny spark that Krishna is talking about? Let me show you a visual for this. So there was only Krishna at the start. From Krishna manifested Lord Balram. From Balram comes the first quadruple expansion of first Vasudev, first Sankarshan, first Pradyumna, and first Anirudh. From first Sankarshan comes Lord Narayan. From Lord Narayan comes the second quadruple expansion of second Vasudev, second Sankarshan, second Pradyumna, and second Anirudh. From second Sankarshan comes Mahavishnu, who is also known as Karnodakshay Vishnu. And I'll show you a close by image, a bigger image of this, that all these bubbles that are emanating from Mahavishnu or Karnodakshay Vishnu are all infinite universes. I showed you one image. These are all bubbles, are all infinite universes. From Mahavishnu or Karnodakshay Vishnu comes Garbhodakshay Vishnu, who is the super soul of each universe. And from Garbhodakshay Vishnu, from his navel are lotus sprouts on which Brahmaji manifest. Brahmaji takes birth. So I'm going to show you close by images of all this. From Garbhodakshay Vishnu comes Paramatma or Shirodakshay Vishnu, and this Paramatma expands as Paramatma within all of us. So you can see there is Paramatma within all these humans, animals, etc. All the zillions of beautiful manifestations, or even whether or not they are beautiful, they are expanding from this tiny spark of Paramatma. This is what Krishna is talking about. That everything is expanded and sustained by a tiny spark of Krishna, which is manifesting from the Paramatma. So Paramatma is a manifestation of Vishnu. From that Paramatma, he expands into all these beautiful manifestations. This is what Krishna is talking about. So Brahma Jyoti, as I said, is a dividing line between the spiritual and the material worlds. Again, a lot more images, visuals are coming up in upcoming classes. Now, the yellowish or golden that you have on the screen, here is Lord Narayan, and the second quadruple expansion is Vaikunta. So I showed you the visual of this. So this is Vaikunta is the golden on the screen. And then on the top part is Golok Vrindavan, where you have Krishna, Lord Balram, and the first quadruple expansion. So means this top part that you have Golok Vrindavan, this is the top part. And the bottom in the gray part is one material universe. Again, it's one material universe, which where Garbhodakshay Vishnu is the super soul of the universe, and then Garbhodakshay Vishnu further expands as Paramatma within all of us. So, and the Karnodakshay Vishnu or Mahavishnu is on top of all universes because he provides the ingredients for creation for all universes. The role of all these three Vishnus is described at great length in Srimad Bhagavatam. I have briefly described, but it's there in Srimad Bhagavatam. I'll show you close by images for all of these, that you can see that all these bubbles coming out from Mahavishnu, these are all universes. I showed you one universe, the image of this one universe. This is this one universe, and all these bubbles are infinite universes in creation. And here's a close by image of Garbhodakshay Vishnu lying on Ananta Shesh and Brahmaji taking birth on a lotus flower sprouting from the navel of Garbhodakshay Vishnu. And here is Shirodakshay Vishnu or Paramatma, who is expanding as Paramatma within all of us, and all the beautiful things that we have are expanding from this tiny spark. And this is what Krishna is talking about. Again, another close by image of Narayan that I showed you earlier, that Narayan is worshipped in awe and reverence in Vaikunta, that, oh, you are God, and everybody is glorifying Lord Narayan. And here again is an image of one universe. I will pause here for any questions, comments, realizations. I still have a lot of talking to do today.
Prabhuji, some place where we can see them more closely in physical form, these pictures?
This is the best you can get. You can just expand. But I have taken the images. You can Google, you will see the same images someplace, what I have shown you.
So does that mean that we have multiple Earths also? Because one universe we usually say, what this is my small understanding, like for example, these number of planets are there. That means multiple Earths are also there. But till now, as per my awareness or level, little bit that none of us speaks or are aware about, are there multiple Earths and multiple,
There are
because
There are multiple universes. There are multiple earthly-like planets. There are multiple Earths all over. NASA does not know all the planets that we have on the seventh plate where we on this Earth are. NASA does not know all the planets on the seven plate. Scriptures have provided more than what NASA knows. But mega simple answer, yes, there are multiple Earths. There is life
Another Earth,
all
another world.
over. There is life all over the universes, and NASA is not able to find because NASA is stuck in a wrong place, that they think that water is crucial for survival. That is not correct. That's where NASA is stuck. And therefore, NASA is not able to find all these other life forms. That NASA thinks water is essential for life. Well, if you go to sun planet, people are living in sun planet, their bodies are made out of fire. So variegatedness is what NASA is missing. Therefore, NASA is not able to find life which is prevalent all over the universes. Megha?
Okay, so Prabhuji, just in order to understand, I mean, for example, I'm trying to explain my imagination, or you can say my expression here, that suppose one globe is there. Now that is one Earth planet for me, just to give it a figure and imagination. So
Yeah,
that
you
means
are
there are, now this is one globe. And okay, so one globe may, like, we have countries and we have India and we have states and people living in it. So that means there are multiple Earths, sort of in
exactly.
imagination, multiple
You
globes,
are
multiple India, and multiple people living in like us in parallel planes, which we do
you
not
are
see. Like, does that means that?
Megha, you are absolutely correct. So this is just one Earth that we know, and people don't even know this whole globe fully. There are multiple universes, not just one globe. There are infinite universes. All the in the background bubbles that you see, and the visual that I showed you from Mahavishnu, all these bubbles are universes, and within each universe there are infinite planets. Each universe is structured identically to the 14 planetary systems. There are infinite planets on each universe, and there are infinite universes. Each universe has Earth, buildings, people, whatever you can see and think and imagine on our planets, they are in existence throughout the material existence.
Same
Megha?
class is going on somewhere right now in some other
Yes, you are
planet. This
absolutely
is
correct. You are absolutely correct. There is Krishna Katha going on someplace. There is Janmashtami being celebrated every day in some place or the other, because Krishna appeared in all these universes at different dates. So there is Janmashtami every single day somewhere in the universe, if you look at that way.
true, true. And because recently, as we say that US has 6 time zones, I mean, like somewhere, some days, some places are there where the days are like 18 hours longer sunlight, and so sun remains longer, the places which are close to equator. So like there are so many Earth or so many universes,
Yeah,
as you explained.
all that timeline for the calculation of time and the length of rotation of the various planets for our universe is given in Srimad Bhagavatam at great length in Canto 3. So Canto 3 creation is described at great length in a step-by-step process, where time is also described at great length, and the fragment of time and the rotation of all these planets, and how ancestors used to live without a clock and still be able to do, and how all these divisions have happened of 7 days, 365. All this is described at great length in Srimad Bhagavatam.
Very true, Prabhuji. I was just thinking that we become so conscious. Somebody asks, "What's your age?" and we become so conscious. And age is nothing but, I mean, just
We are
another rotation,
insignificant.
another year.
Yeah, we
Yes,
are
yes.
insignificant. Our earth is insignificant. Our universe
Yeah.
is insignificant
Very true.
among the zillions of universes. And I showed you the size of my ego. If you recall the yoga ladder class, I had shown you the
Yeah.
size of my ego, that my ego makes me think that I am bigger than all these infinite material universes.
Yes, Prabhuji, true. Because while we are study about manifestations, we you usually say imagine your parallel universe and your future version. So
Yeah,
I
so
was just
you can
relating.
fantasize,
Yeah.
but that doesn't tell you everything, right? Follow the scriptures. Scriptures have everything in detail.
I agree, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. This is
All
so
right.
helpful.
Janisha,
So Prabhuji, due to this parallel universe, is that why we get sometimes the deja vu kind of thing?
we get what?
A deja vu kind of like things has already happened kind of feeling sometimes we get. So
So
is
things
this
have already
because
happened within our universe. It's not because of parallel universes.
okay.
In the parallel universes also these things have happened, but within our universe, we discussed in 8.17 in the chart that each 12-hour day of Brahma has 1000 cycles of 4 yugas. So within our universe, within one day of Brahmaji, everything has happened 1000 times. And Brahmaji is right now 51 years of age. So you can imagine how many times all these things have already happened.
Okay. Got it, Prabhuji. Thank you.
So there's a question posted in the chat that are people in heavenly planets better than us? And if so, in what ways? Do they do bhakti much better or are they as fallen? So those who are in heaven and those who are in hell, I will explain the comparison with us on earth with a simple example. So if you eat, say whatever sweet you like, say rasgulla, as an example. You eat rasgulla here on earth, you get a certain taste. If you eat the same rasgulla in heaven, your relishing or your taste or your enjoyment is 1000 times more than what taste you had here on earth. Similarly, so heavenly planets are more on enjoyment side. Similarly, for suffering, so the hellish planets below earth are more on suffering side. So on earth, if you bang your head to a wall, you get, say, a degree of pain. If you bang your head at the same intensity in hell, the degree of pain will be 1000 times more. Earth is where everything is in moderation, that you have both enjoyment and suffering. In heaven, there is largely enjoyment. In hell, there is largely suffering. In terms of doing bhakti in heaven, it's very difficult to do bhakti because of so much enjoyment. And the example in Srimad Bhagavatam is given for Katwanga Maharaj, that Katwanga Maharaj is a pure devotee. He went to heaven to fight on behalf of demigods, fight with the demons. So when he finished the fight, demigods asked Katwanga Maharaj asked for a boon, some benediction. So he asked, how long do I have to live? And demigod said, you have only a split second of life left. So split second of life, they said, in terms of heaven. So all this lifespan is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam that I was just saying to Megha. So that split second in heaven was, you can say, 45 minutes or an hour or little longer on earth. So the benediction that Khatwanga Maharaj asked is that give me the fastest plane to go back to earth so that I can focus my mind on Krishna. Now, Khatwanga Maharaj could have sat down in heaven to focus his mind on Krishna, but he said there is so much opulences around here, it is very easy to get distracted. Therefore, Khatwanga Maharaj said, send me send me to earth with the fastest airplane so that I can focus my mind on Krishna, and that's what he did and attained perfection. The follow-up question is that the same yuga cycles going on in every universe? Yes, all universes are constructed similarly, and they are complex in terms of logic is more complex. So we think that my logic, I am so proud of my logic. Well, I'll show you an image that our Brahmaji has 4 heads, and in other universes, there are Brahmajis with 1,000 heads, million heads, 100,000 heads, or so many heads, because of the complexity of each of those universes. Our universe is the smallest of the universe and is the least complex of all the universes. So you can see on the screen, this Brahmaji has so many heads, all these Brahmaji. So each universe has one Brahmaji. Our Brahmaji with 4 heads is the smallest count of heads, because our universe is the smallest of the universe and the least complex of the universe. Does that answer the questions posted?
Yes, Prabhuji.
All right. There's another question posted about life everywhere. So life is similar all over the universe in terms of the principle of creation are similar. There will be some nuances different. So all these word about aliens that NASA calls, they are not aliens. They are actually different life forms. Just because we don't understand, we call them aliens, but that doesn't make them aliens. Okay, so I have a lot of still talking left to do for the Vibhutis. I would like you to please park your questions for now. And let me first finish what I have to discuss. The last point I will answer about Janisha. What are the criteria to be in other universes? So depends on your karma and depends on your desires. So I have explained in our karma discussion that when a soul leaves the body, the soul goes through a multi-dimensional chart that determines the soul takes birth on which universe, within the universe, which planet, within the planet, which city, which family, which body. All that is determined by a multi-dimensional chart. And from scriptures, we only know very few of those dimensions, which I have described throughout our study. Janisha, does that answer?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you so much.
Okay, so let's first now focus on the verses that I want to focus about Vibhuti Yoga, the conversation that I started about Vibhuti Yoga, so that we can perceive Krishna's presence around us 24 hours. So let's go back to reading verses and read at a faster pace, please. Everybody, please get your verse number 20 onwards ready. And we will read, and we will also be skipping few verses because they are straightforward. Okay, with all these verses about Vibhuti Yoga, I'm trying to explain a principle on how to use the beautiful manifestations in the material world to remember Krishna all the time. Mathan Prabhu, verse number 20, translation 10.20.
Hare Krishna. Verse 20. I am the Super Soul, O Arjuna, seated in the hearts of all living entity. I am the beginning, the middle, and the end of all beings.
So he says super soul. So I already showed you a visual. So Krishna is the super soul in all living beings. So beginning, I also explained that at the beginning of a universe, there was only Mahavishnu. In that sense, he is the beginning of everything. And of course, beginning Krishna was there. There was nobody else. So you can, in that sense, you can understand that Krishna is the beginning of everything. And even within each universe, Garbhodakshai Vishnu is the first. In Srimad Bhagavatam about creation is described that without Garbhodakshai Vishnu, nothing was happening. Only when Garbhodakshai Vishnu entered the universe is when creation started manifesting. And then middle, Krishna is the middle also because we are not maintaining our body. I play some part in maintaining my body, but not entirely. It is Krishna who is in the middle. Just imagine there are so many things happening in the body without my control, which we don't even know about, which are very essential. For example, breathing, for example, digestion. There are so many things that are happening in our body which are absolutely essential, and we have no knowledge or very limited knowledge, and we have no control. Why? Because Krishna is maintaining us. This is how Krishna is in the middle. And then end. The finality of death is unappealable. In the material world, say somebody has a court case and he loses the case, he can appeal against the verdict. But death is unappealable. Death is absolutely final. And this is also an indicator of the power of God. All right. Megha 21 translation.
Of the Adityas, I am Vishnu of lights. I am the radiant sun. Of the Maruds, I am Marichi. And among the stars, I am the moon.
So soon practical aspects will start coming from this verse. So he says Aditya. So in cosmology is divided into 12 divisions, and each division is presided over by one form of Aditya. And among Aditya, the most powerful form is Vishnu. Hence Krishna is saying, I am Vishnu of the Adityas. So follow that template that I said, that these verses say, among these, I am this. So we can focus on the Vishesha. Now sun. So there are so many effulgent objects, but one sun has been producing so much energy for so long, and it will continue to produce energy for 155 trillion years in future, at least for this cycle of creation. And Krishna says, of all effulgent objects, I am the sun. So next time you see the sun, remember Krishna. Now Marichi, this is very, very easy, very practical way to remember Marichi. Or the example that Krishna is explaining from Marichi, that from Maruts, who are in charge of different winds, among them, Marichi is the most powerful, and Krishna says, I am Marichi among Maruts. Now, limited materialistic perspective, everybody, at least here in North America, you hear the weather news all the time, that wind is blowing from a particular direction. They say, oh, northeast or south or west or whatever. Now, how is that wind blowing? Because there is a particular Marut in charge of blowing the wind from a particular direction. So limited materialistic perspective is that, oh, wind is blowing from so-and-so direction. But beyond this, there is a deeper perspective that from this point on you can use that incorporates cosmic controllers of that wind blowing in a particular direction. So next time you hear a weather forecast where it says that wind is going to blow very violently or from so and so direction, remember 10.21, Krishna says, I am Marichi among Maruts. Very practical to remember Krishna 24 hours, or even whether or not you listen to the weather report. You feel the breeze, or say sometimes you are walking and the wind is blowing very violently. Remember 10.21. Remember Krishna this way. Krishna says, I am Marichi, means the one who is controlling the flow and the speed of the wind. And then moon. Moon looks so attractive in the sky, especially say on a full moon, looks magnificent on a clear night. So Krishna says the moon's attractive potency comes from me. And similarly, you can say every time you see the blue sky, the sky is blue because it's a reflection of Krishna's body. Well, I've already given you so many practical points. It's going to be impossible for you to forget Krishna. Anybody already on that level? Yes, no, silence.
Prabhuji, I feel that the moment you say, like, while taking bath, you remember, when you get up, you remember. So I might not be able to remember the exact Sanskrit verses or words meaning, but I do chant
Yeah, and that
immediately.
is
I
good enough.
mean, that comes to me automatically.
Yeah, and that is
I
good
feel
enough.
his presence. And the moment I convey him the message, please support me, I receive full support in such situations where I am completely a changed person. I never even imagined myself, and I felt he was holding me. It is live. It is experience which I've lived actually.
Yeah, very good. Right. So rest of you, you either see the sun, you either see the moon, you see the blue sky, you feel the wind. Anybody here able to forget Krishna? Silence, I got silence. All right, I got real silence.
Prabhuji, sometimes I forget, and then sometimes I come to my senses.
Yeah, and that's okay because we are not yet purified. At least I'm not yet purified because we keep fluctuating. So that's understandable.
Okay.
All right. Next verse. Padma Kumar Prabhu, 22 translation.
Of the Vedas, I am Samaveda. Of the demigods, I am Indra, the king of heaven. Of the senses, I am the mind. In living beings, I am the living force, consciousness.
So Samaveda, Sama is glorification. So Samaveda contains beautiful verses that glorify higher beings. Rig Veda contains many verses that are for invocation. Is generally used to invoke the Vedic Devatas for fire sacrifices. Yajur Veda, Yajur means worship. So Yajur Veda contains directions of how to worship. So when Yajna is being performed, what all mantras to chant. And Atharva Veda has procedures for everyday life, is a knowledge storehouse. And then Indra is the most powerful of demigods. He is king of heaven. And Krishna says that the power of Indra comes from Krishna. Now mind, another practical example. Mind is formidable. Srimad Bhagavatam describes the example of Avanti Brahmana, where the Avanti Brahmana say that mind's godlike power is very difficult to subdue. So the mind is material. But the power of the mind comes from Krishna. And that's what Krishna is explaining here, that the power of the powerful mind is a manifestation of Krishna. That power of mind gives us a very tiny, a very small glimpse of the power of God. Here is another practical example. How many of you have your mind troubling you? Anybody?
Mine, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Prabhuji.
So remember Krishna. Every time your mind overtakes you, troubles you, remember Krishna. Srivasa Prabhu is an exception that mind never troubles you. Very good.
No, I'm using sarcasm, Prabhu.
All right, thank you. Right, so I have already given you practical examples. Sun, moon, sky, wind, mind. I'm not even talking about other points that Krishna has explained about he is Vishnu among Adityas. Well, we don't deal with Adityas on a day-to-day manner. But I am giving you practical ways to remember Krishna from what we are seeing around us all the time. And then Krishna also explains about consciousness, that without consciousness, the person is dead. All right, verse number 23, Pratyush Prabhu.
Verse 23. Of all the Rudras, I am Lord Shiva. Of the Yakshas and Rakshas, I am the Lord of Wealth, Kuvera. Of the Vasus, I am fire, Agni. And of mountains, I am Meru.
So Shiva is the most powerful among the Rudras, and Shiva's power come from Krishna. Now, this does not mean that Krishna and Shiva are same. No, it's the power of Shiva that comes from Krishna. So whenever you see Shiva or hear about Shiva doing destruction, well, understand that power is coming from Krishna. Then Kuvera. So Rakshasas are in tamasic guna. They are also part of universal existence, and they are presided over by Kuvera. So Kuvera is good one among all the bad Rakshasas. And Kuvera is attractive as well as Kuvera is the treasurer of demigod. Therefore, Krishna is saying that I am Kuvera. That manifestation of Kuvera is coming from Krishna. Now, Agni, there are also different kinds of fires. All this ability of fire comes from Krishna. Mount Meru. Mount Meru is a very famous mountain in cosmology. Mount Meru is the axis on which the universe circles. I'm going to show you a visual for Mount Meru also coming up in our upcoming classes. Okay, verse number 24, Raksha.
Hare Krishna. 10.24. Of priest, O Arjuna, know me to be the chief Brihaspati. Of generals, I am Kartikeya, and of bodies of water, I am the ocean. Hare Krishna.
So Brihaspati, so there are many respectable priests, and Brihaspati is the most powerful. He is the chief of demigods, and is a representation of Krishna. Kartikeya is son of Shiva and Parvati. He is among formidable commanders. So among commanders, Kartikeya is a formidable commander of demigods, and he leads the army of demigods to victory against demons. And ocean, I mean, all of you also happen to see ocean or big lakes or big bodies of water all the time. Krishna says among the various bodies, biggest is ocean, it is vast. It should remind you of Krishna. It's very easy to remember Krishna. Question posted, what are Rudras? So you read in the previous class, I had given the manifestation of Rudras, that when Shiva was born, Shiva, another name is Rudra. there were all these multiple manifestations of Shiva or multiple manifestations of Rudras, and Shiva is the most powerful of them. And that's what I can mention so far. So right now, I will show the devotees who completed the spiritual endeavors for the Vibhuti Yoga. So I will show all the slides, and you don't need to worry about taking snapshot. I'm gonna give you the document in the chat. First, let me show, and then you can visualize that how devotees are able to use vibhutis to see Krishna. So devotees, they described all these vibhutis as well as had the visual for all of them. And I'm not going to read all of that. What I want you to recognize is that you all got the same spiritual endeavor, and all devotees are describing the same point in their own words. So another devotee had Krishna in the center, and all these Kartikeya, fire, Shiva, Kubera, Brahaspati, ocean, Mount Meru coming from Krishna, representing the exact same points. Another devotee also had the same way of describing visuals, that Krishna is in the center for all this, as well as describing. Now this devotee has done this exercise multiple times, and every time is drawing it differently because the devotee is able to see Krishna in different ways. Exact same words. The devotee has done the exact same spiritual endeavor for the exact same words multiple times, and the drawings are different. The devotee continues again the same way of visuals and description of what is in the verse. Another devotee also has the same way some visuals for the sun and the adityas, etc., and the wind blowing, the Veda, Indra, consciousness, mind, everything. Krishna is the center. It's going to be impossible for you all, at least that's what I'm hoping after this discussion, to forget Krishna. It's going to be impossible for you all to forget Krishna. Previously, it was like, I cannot remember Krishna. Now it's going to be, I cannot forget Krishna. And then another devotee overlapped all the visuals into one amazing ability, that what the devotee has done is taken all that. So in the previous one, everybody had it separately. Here the devotee overlaid all of it into one amazing ability. And another devotee simply described what the verses say in their own words. This is also an appropriate way to describe what we are reading. Another devotee used another different form of describing the adityas, the star, sun, moon, etc. Similarly, another devotee is again describing and having a visual for the same points. Another devotee described, and another devotee also is highlighting a key point, what we discussed, that you read this, that by identifying himself with specific divine figures, Krishna emphasizes his supreme nature and his presence within all aspects of existence. How can anybody say, I cannot see Krishna? He is all around us. And the devotee also correlated our previous discussion from chapter 7, verse number 8, 9, 10, where Krishna says, I am the taste of water. And now he's saying he's the mighty ocean also. So very good. And another devotee also described, and here's a key point which I have highlighted, which is the crux of the Vibhuti Yoga discussion. I will read, in everything powerful, wise, beautiful, or vast, Krishna is present. By seeing greatness in the world, we can use these to remember Krishna. Another devotee also made a drawing as well as described. Another devotee also did similar way. So all of you followed to see Krishna around you by using the manifestations. So I'm going to post in the chat this document for you all so that you can read and view later for yourself. Everybody got the document? Download for yourself, please. All right. Okay. Let's continue our discussion. So let's see who is next on the reading list. Srivatsa Prabhu will read verse number 25. Subhash Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, can you hear me?
Okay, Srivatsa Prabhu, go ahead.
Sorry, I had a little bit of a mix-up here. Okay. Verse number 25, translation. Of the great sages, I am Bhrigu. Of vibrations, I am the transcendental Om. Of sacrifices, I am the chanting of the holy names, Japa. And of immovable things, I am the Himalayas.
So, Bhrigu is extremely powerful among sages. So previously, among priests, I am Brahaspati is what Krishna says. And among sages, I am Bhrigu. So what is the difference between priest and sages? So priests do rituals, sacrifices, etc. So when demigods have to do sacrifices, they will call Brahaspati to oversee the sacrifice. Now sages are not paid priests. They are not priests of a particular dynasty. Sages are focusing on attaining transcendence, and accordingly, they are also doing austerities. Now, Om invokes the absolute truth. Hence, Om is very special and powerful. Om manifests Krishna also. It's described in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 17, Om Tat Sat. You can make, so materialistic people who do not know about spirituality, they can make their activities transcendental by uttering Om Tat Sat for doing any activity, because they don't really know the personal aspect or the personal details of the law. So we all know that God is Krishna. He is a person. He has various names like Krishna, Narasimha, Rama, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we are trying to revive a personal relationship. Therefore, we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Om is non-personal way of referring to the law. Now, Japa. Of the sacrifices, Krishna says, I am chanting of the holy name Japa. So we do chanting all the time. It comes directly from Bhagavad Gita. And I'll play a Chaitanya Chanda's short lecture here. Listen closely in terms of importance of Japa. So tomorrow somebody says, why are you chanting Japa? Where does it say? It comes directly from Bhagavad Gita 10.25. Krishna says, of sacrifices, I am the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, or the chanting of the holy name. So when we do chanting, that is also sacrifice. And in Kali Yuga, Sankirtan Yajna is a sacrifice. So let's hear from Chaitanya Chandas about this point about Japa, about Yajna in Kali Yuga. Take notes and we'll come to discuss.
Then Yajnanam Japa Yajñosmi. So it's very significant 10.25 that Krishna is Say, and now he's developed the thought of in third chapter, the fourth chapter, the fifth chapter, that yajna is not just a specific activity of fire sacrifice. Yajna is the principle of sacrifice for the sake of the Lord. So once that principle is established, after that, Krishna explains that among the various kind of sacrifices, we see here he's saying, yajnana japa yajñosmi. So we can sacrifice some honey, we can sacrifice some grains, some ghee, some silk. But actually the most difficult thing to sacrifice is our consciousness. We don't have to destroy our consciousness by sacrifice. Sacrifice means to offer during that period at least. So when we're chanting at that time, we take our consciousness and offer to Krishna. That is the sacrifice which will give us the greatest result. Because by doing that sacrifice of offering our consciousness to Krishna, manifesting as the holy name, we will get purified, we will get elevated and liberated, we will attain prema for Krishna. So that is very significant reference for the glory of the holy name. And especially not just the glory of the holy name. This is a verse which you can use to substantiate the point that chanting is also a yajna. Prabhupada used the word Sankirtan Yajna quite often. So we wonder what is the scriptural basis for the idea of Sankirtan being a Yajna. Yajna generally people think fire sacrifice, but here the references they're not just from some esoteric scripture, directly from the Bhagavad Gita, that among the yajnas, I am Japa Yajna. So here Krishna is indicating this special position of Japa Yajna, and he's saying, therefore equating that with him. And
all right, what did he say?
Of all the sacrifices, the most difficult is to sacrifice your consciousness.
All right, what else? Somebody quickly.
Chanting is also yajna.
Yeah, when you do chanting, that's a yajna, that's a sacrifice. Okay, what else?
And Sankirtana Yajna also Yajna, because Krishna says among Yajna, I am Japa Yajna.
Very good. All right. Next verse number 26, we will skip their straightforward points. We'll read verse number 27. Subhash Prabhu, 10.27 translation.
10.27. Of horses, know me to be the Uchaira Sarva, produced during the churning of the ocean for nectar. Of lordly elephants, I am Airavata, and among men, I am the monarch.
So, the first point is about Ashwa. Ashwa means horse. Say during Ashwamedh Yajna, the horse is there, therefore it's called Ashwamedh Yajna. That among horses, Krishna says, I am Uchaishrava. That Uchaishrava was a horse that appeared during churning of the milk ocean. And Uchaishrava horse was very extraordinary. A horse is very attractive. And Krishna says, among all horses, Uchaishrava is the most attractive. And this Uchaishrava is a manifestation of my Vibhuti. Similarly, of elephants, I am Airavrata. That there are elephants, and among elephants, there are gigantic elephants who are like kings of elephants. So among these kings of elephants also, Airavata is special. So Airavata is the elephant, the carrier of Indra. So as Indra is king of demigods, similarly Airavata is greatest among the kingly elephants. So Airavata is very powerful and strikes terror in the eyes of opponents of Indra when Indra is riding on top of Airavata. Now, here's an important discussion about monarch. Krishna says, among men, I am monarch. that among human beings, Krishna says, I am the king. So king has enormous power as compared to ordinary people. And that power attracts everyone to the king. And the power of the king is a manifestation of Krishna's power. So the king is a Vibhuti of Krishna. So here's a question for all of you. All of you, please try to answer. This is very important to understand. Now, here Krishna says that king is manifestation of Krishna. But we know that not all kings are godly. So a question for all of you is, are all kings Vibhuti of Krishna? Everybody please answer quickly.
No, Prabhuji.
All right. Srivatsa Prabhu also says no. Janisha says no. Padma Kumar says no. Everybody please answer. Are all kings Vibhutis of Krishna? We know that not all kings are godly. Many others in the chat are saying no. Okay. Megha?
I'm not sure, Prabhuji, I'm able to understand the question.
The question is, so in verse 27, Krishna says, of humans, I am monarch, means among men, I am the king. But we know that not all kings are godly. There are demoniac kings also. So
Yes.
question is, are all kings Vibhuti of Krishna?
No, Prabhuji.
All right. Rest of you have not answered. Please first answer. How are you?
Prabhuji, I think yes.
Okay. Except Diksha, I think we have a unanimous no. All right. Subhash Prabhu?
I think no, Prabhuji.
All right. Rest of you have not answered. Who has not answered? Pratyush is left, I think.
I don't
No,
think so,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Pratyush, repeat.
No, Prabhuji.
Okay. Annapurni?
I don't think so.
All right. Srivastava Prabhu, you already answered no.
Yes, no Prabhu.
Okay. So, except Diksha, everybody said no. I want everybody to have undivided attention. And this discussion will continue in our next discussion point also. So, if the kings are righteous, then they take the citizens towards God. Otherwise, the kings are on the wrong path. Therefore, Vibhutis can be Daivi or Vibhuti can be Asuri. So whether the king is godly or whether the king is demoniac, it still is a Vibhuti of Krishna. So all are Vibhutis of Krishna, good and bad. All opulences come from Krishna, whether they be good or bad, but not all opulences take us to Krishna. What does this mean? Example, king may have tremendous power, but the king may be tyrant, ruthlessly killing people. So the power that the king has is a Vibhuti of Krishna. By his past karma, that person is getting his power. That person is given that power by God. But then this person is using to abuse the power. So we should be attracted to those Vibhutis that take us towards Krishna. Vibhuti will naturally attract us, whether it be positive or negative. But we should choose which Vibhuti we become attracted to. Hitler is a perfect example that Hitler having the ability to become a king, of course, that's a Vibhuti. But he is an example of negative Vibhuti. So we do not focus on Hitler. And if you look at godly kings like Yudhishthir, Arjuna, Parikshit Maharaj, etc., they are also kings. They are also manifestation. They are also Vibhutis of Krishna. But Yudhishthir, Arjuna, Parikshit Maharaj, these are positive vibhutis. So we follow what Yudhishthir, like kings, have taught us. And similarly, about listening to kirtan. So a devotee who sings very nice kirtan and a mundane musician from Hollywood and Bollywood who sings sexual songs melodiously, well, the music talent is there in both the devotee and the Hollywood Bollywood music singer. Both are vibhutis. Both the talent is vibhuti of Krishna, coming from Krishna. But not all vibhutis are taking us towards God. So when devotee sings Krishna, they may not have much of the musical instruments. If you listen to some Prabhupada Kirtan from beginning, there was just a simple mridanga or a simple kartal, or at times it's only clapping of the hands. But when you listen to that Prabhupada Kirtan, it's like, wow. Why? Because the devotee is singing with devotion, and it's the devotion of the devotees singing is what takes us towards Krishna. Now, if you hear materialistic person also singing beautiful sexually explicit songs, yeah, that's also vibhuti of Krishna, but that arouses material emotion within us. Such material emotions takes us away from Krishna. Therefore, we should choose which vibhuti we become attracted to. Means we should be attracted to positive vibhutis and not negative vibhutis. I will pause here for questions, comments, realizations. Srivasa Prabhu first.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I had two quick questions. The first one was these Vibhuti individuals, is there middle ground for them, like the politicians we have today, or are they just either good and bad,
They
dharmic
are
and
just good and
adharmic?
bad. So politicians that you see today, largely many of them are negative vibhutis. They are not following any spiritual instructions and scriptures. They are all meat eating. They are running slaughterhouses. They are all negative vibhutis.
Mm. So this is my second question, because some of them, even if they want to do good, the system is already corrupt.
Yeah, you are correct.
So
You are correct. So therefore, Krishna will explain this in chapter 15, verse 3 and 4, that you cannot end the entire material existence. And the example given is that, like in a prison house, the prisoner cannot end the entire prison house. The prisoner can only end his own prison sentence by good behavior. Similarly, you cannot end the material existence. Material existence will continue. If you understand that this is a place of misery, then you detach yourself by determination and you get out of this world and go back home, back to Godhead.
Right, got it, Prabhu.
Rest of you, I want to hear about the positive and negative vibhutis. Quickly, please. Silence. I got silence from rest of you. Everybody on the same page.
Prabhuji, how can we explain Vibhuti to a common man, the most understandable and easy meaning of Vibhuti word?
So the most easier way to explain to anybody is that whatever beautiful things we see in the world, they are coming from a tiny spark of Krishna. So instead of just focusing on whatever beautiful things that we see, you take it to the next step of saying, oh, this beautiful thing or this famous sports star or famous film star is famous or beautiful because the ability is coming from a tiny spark of Krishna. So let me go to the whole Krishna. The whole Krishna would be so much more beautiful because the tiny spark has expanded in zillions of beautiful things. Well, let me go to the whole Krishna. So you use the beautiful things to remember Krishna this way.
And okay, so Vibhuti can be explained as beautiful thing.
So of course the negative also is coming from Krishna, but we don't get attracted to the negative because the negative doesn't remind us or does not take us to Krishna. So the example for the negative I gave about the monarch, as well as more easily understandable is when you hear music. When you hear from a devotee, it attracts you towards Krishna. Versus when you hear Bollywood and Hollywood movie songs, well, it's a talent in the both the devotee singing and the movie star singing, or whosoever is the singer. But the movie star singing is not taking you towards Krishna, is taking you towards sense gratification.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. So I will skip few more verses here. 28, 29 I will skip. 30, 31 I will skip. 32, 33 I will skip. 34, 35 also I will skip. And I'll come to verse number 36. Is going to be a very heavy discussion for verse number 36. Janisha, verse number 36 translation.
Hare Krishna. I am also the gambling of cheats, and of the splendid I am the splendor. I am victory, I am adventure, and I am the strength of the strong. Hare Krishna.
Among all forms of cheating, I am gambling. Now, why gambling? Understand a very important point Krishna is explaining here. The same point that I discussed earlier about the positive and the negative vibhutis. So, no one wants to be cheated in the material world. If somebody tries to cheat us, we will resist. But if person A fools person B so much that this person B willingly participates in an endeavor that this person B, the fooled person, gets cheated, oh, this is a manifestation of extraordinary cunningness in that person A, because he is able to delude that person B so that the person B voluntarily chooses to be cheated. This is extraordinary cunningness. This extraordinary cunningness, although it's a negative vibhuti, Krishna says this extraordinary cunningness is a manifestation of my vibhuti. So in gambling, it is known that the gamblers will lose. Otherwise, the gambling business will become bankrupt. Yet, gamblers, so person B in our example, the gamblers participate in gambling. Why? The point is that it is not that the cheating or gambling is good. That's not what the point Krishna is making. And many say that Yudhishthir also gamble, so why can't we? But actually, lesson from Mahabharata is exactly opposite. The point from Mahabharata is that even a king, a pious king like Yudhishthir, who was so virtuous, if he gambles, even he got in trouble. I am not at all virtuous. So if I gamble, I will get into far greater trouble. So Mahabharata uses exalted characters in an extreme examples to demonstrate extreme lessons in unforgettable ways for us. So it is not that cheating or gambling is good. Rather, that cheating is accepted as a fact of nature. And within cheating, there are some cheating that are extraordinary, and those cheating, that intelligence, that extraordinary cunningness is manifestation of God. Although negative vibhuti, but it still is manifestation of God. I will pause here for any questions, comments, realizations. Quickly, please.
Prabhuji, there are good things also, bad things also. Like we in the world say, somewhere rape is going on, somewhere lootism is going on, somewhere gambling, drinking. So everything comes from Krishna. So like positive also, negative also. Like because the person who is a hunter, he is also praying that I want to kill that animal. Please, I allow me to kill that and give me the resources to kill that animal. So he is also praying. The thief is also praying. So, like, how does this runs positive, negative, both are running hand in hand? So, I mean to say,
let
what
me
can be
answer.
done for negativity?
Yeah, let me answer. So why there is negative in the material world is to exhaust everybody's good and bad karma. Negative is to exhaust the bad karma. So this described in Srimad Bhagavatam that as part of creation, the first thing Brahmaji had to manifest was ignorance. Because unless the person is ignorant of his original Swarupa in the material, his original Swarupa in the spiritual world, that unless one forgets the original Swarupa, he cannot live in the material world. So yes, we have also discussed in chapter 10, verse 4 and 5, that all qualities come from Krishna. Positive qualities, negative qualities, as well as dualities. Everything comes from Krishna. But we have to understand from scriptures that we should be attracted to positive qualities. Why there are negative qualities in the material world is because material world is a place of duality where everybody's good and bad karma has to exhaust. So people have done bad karma. So bad karma also has to manifest. For that, bad things are there. Therefore, the bad qualities are also manifested and coming from Krishna. Megha?
Okay, maybe some example can help me understand more. I mean,
Example
because
in no, so I'm saying the bad qualities. So somebody has done a bad karma, and he has to suffer. So for that suffering, the negative things have to happen in the material world. Otherwise, how is that person going to suffer? How is that person going to exhaust the bad karma? Megha?
So, I mean, if it is my bad karma, so uh, this quality came in me, or is the responsibility, the onus is taken by Krishna? Like, why will I do that? You know, as a child, I'm grown and I have grown as a terrorist and I'm killing people. So, like, where does this quality lands up to? Who is taking the onus or responsibility? Because
just
I did it
because
any which ways, I will suffer.
so
But the
just
world
because
suffered because of it.
yeah, so just because something you have been doing does not mean you need to continue. So just because, say, a child says eating meat at home because the parents are meat eaters. Well, when the child grows, the child has his free will, has intelligence to study from scriptures that eating meat involves killing other living beings. Therefore, I should stop it. So same applies whether somebody is born in a terrorist or say somebody is born in a business that in a butcher business. Well, you have to then realize for yourself that whatever has been happening, I don't have to continue if it is wrong. And right and wrong is determined by scriptures. Krishna will explain this in chapter 16 towards the end, the last two verses, 16.23 and 24. Shastram Vidim. That what determines right and wrong is scriptures. So just because I am a child, I have no intelligence developed, and I'm just following what my parents are doing. Well, but now you have developed intelligence. So now you can stop doing those wrong things because now you understand from scriptures what is right and what is. So to manifest that bad karma, yes, the dualities and the negative things are there in the material world. Otherwise, how are your bad karma going to manifest? But we should try to be on the positive side. Megha?
Yes, Prabhuji, I agree, because most of the times we say that we never knew that terrorist gangs were going on or a small girl is raped. So, like, who is responsible? Is that girl getting raped? Is
So
it
it's
out of her
karma.
own
So I don't
karma?
I don't like to give the answer that it is karma, but the fact is that it is karma of that person's getting manifested. So I've described this in our karma discussion that if somebody kills an animal in this life for tongue's taste, in the next life, that animal has the karmic credit to kill you or hurt you. It can be in any form. So somebody gets killed, somebody gets raped. So why? Because the person suffering in this life did something wrong in the previous life to the same individual. Right? If you look at karma from this life's perspective, it doesn't seem right that why is so and so being killed or raped or suffering, what all. But understand that karma continues life after life after life after life. And I have given the example of cricket test match that a team number 2 has to follow on even when team number 1 has not batted because there is an excess score of 200 or more. Why? Because the team number 2 doesn't complain because the team realizes that it's a continuation from inning number 1 that I had a shortfall of more than 200 runs. Similarly, karma continues life after life after life.
That helps, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. That helps.
Deepa, you have a question? Last question, please. All right, let me finish. So he also discussed about the splendid, of the splendor, that some people have charisma and personality. That splendor is representation of Krishna. So charisma is often extraordinary. Some people just have some charisma. They will be naturally leaders and attractive to the crowd. What makes people attracted to them? That when experts try to deconstruct charisma, it's very difficult. When disciples are attracted to spiritual master and other people wonder what is that attraction. So of course, the charisma of material leader and spiritual leaders are of different nature. So the point is, Krishna says that whatever be the attractiveness, the splendor, is coming from Krishna. All right, so we already read rest of the verses. I will skip. You can read, and if you have questions, you can ask later. So we already read the verses 40, 41, and 42. I will re-emphasize the points. So the principle Krishna is talking about here is that whatever attracts people, that manifest is opulence. When people get attracted to different things, we have to have our jnana chakshu, our eyes of knowledge, that actually this beautiful manifestation is an opulence of Krishna that is manifested in this person, whether it be a sports star, film star, or whatever be his attractiveness. Another way of looking at it is that all the attractiveness is Maya. Now, this another way of thinking everything is Maya shows people's consciousness. Now, we cannot dismiss the fact that most people are conscious of material things. Now, if Arjuna had also adopted such a dismissive attitude that everything material is Maya, therefore rejected, then there will be no need for this Vibhuti Yoga chapter. And Arjuna's question is also important. He says, how to remember Krishna through material manifestations? So Arjuna did not reject material manifestations. And similarly, Krishna replied how to use these material manifestations to remember Krishna. Krishna did not say these material manifestations are illusions, so forget it. No, Krishna actually is saying all these material manifestations are my manifestations and a way to remember Krishna. And Krishna gives examples by which Arjuna can remember Krishna, as well as we all can remember Krishna by using these material manifestations. So material manifestations are not Maya. Yes, they are part of Maya, but they can be used to remember Krishna, even though they are Maya. So karmic way of looking at material world is, oh, this is so nice. Let's enjoy without thinking of anything else. Forget suffering. And some people say that if you want to forget miseries of the material world, then just keep laughing. Jnani way of looking at the things in the material world is that, oh, this is all illusion. This material world is a place of suffering, so just let me forget it. Bhakti way of looking at material world is to see the connection between things and Krishna. That it is Vibhuti of Krishna that is manifesting through this particular person. We can remember Krishna by going to temples, by seeing Gopinath, by reading about Krishna's pastimes. These are direct ways and are primarily recommended way. Simultaneously, the point is that Krishna consciousness does not have to be limited only to these primarily explicit Krishna conscious activities of going to temples, taking darshan of Gopinath, reading scriptures, hearing pastimes. Rather, we expand our Krishna consciousness. We should not pigeonhole Krishna consciousness only to these explicit activities. So now the question becomes, how can we be Krishna conscious in what we are already conscious of? Means in what we are already conscious of at the material level. Exactly what Megha asked a few minutes ago. That how can we be Krishna conscious in what we are already conscious of at the material level? The answer is, in the material world, we will be conscious of certain things. Example, sports star, movie star, who are constantly in news, etc. So it is not that we have to delight in these material things constantly, but it is also not that we have to reject all these as mundane gossip. No. When we are exposed to these things in the material world, or when we are interacting with these things in the material world, then we try to see the Krishna factor, the Krishna connection. Even in material manifestation, whatever is extraordinary, that is manifestation of Krishna. How it is manifestation of Krishna? That person or that object is attracting people's attention. That capacity to attract people's attention is ultimately coming from Krishna. We do not want to get attracted to that particular material manifestation. Rather, whatever attraction is anyway there in the material world, either in our mind or in people's mind, because of which our consciousness or our attention also sometimes goes to those material things, then we can take to the next step of connecting it to Krishna, that this is coming from Krishna. This is the principle of Vibhuti, that whatever attracts us, we connect that with Krishna. By connecting that with Krishna, we become Krishna conscious through the things which we are anyway conscious of in the material world. Example, a student in the class is brilliant, is able to answer all the questions. Hence, that student will be attractive to others. So we can see that this student's intelligence is actually a manifestation of Krishna. If this student can attract so many people, then how much more can Krishna attract? And when I develop my relationship with Krishna, or I revive my relationship with Krishna, how much joy will there be in that relationship. So the whole process of bhakti yoga is not rejection, rather it is connection. So if you recall at the start of chapter 7, that's exactly what I said, that a new mood of connection will start from chapter 7 onwards, and that's exactly is continuing. So Krishna will explain how everything is just a spark of his splendor. I already showed you a visual. So whenever and wherever there is Vibhuti, beautiful, glorious creations, it is manifesting from a tiny spark of Krishna. If one is attracted only to the spark, that pleasure will soon end. So instead of being attracted to the spark, we let the spark remind us of the whole Krishna, and then we redirect our attraction to the whole. If we keep getting attracted to the spark, then we will have infinite longings. Means I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. One can have infinite longings, but instead we should be longing for the infinite. Infinite longings keep going on forever in the material world, but the infinite absolute truth has all the attractiveness in one place that are manifested in many people in the material world. As devotees, let us long for the infinite. This is chapter 10, purpose and essence. We are anyway attracted to things in this world. Therefore, rise from infinite longings to longing for the infinite. And in this way, we can redirect our consciousness towards Krishna through gradual purification. Thus, we have ended chapter 10. I will show the slide again that next Saturday, 16th of August is Janmashtami. We will not have class, and I have a slide on the screen that my spiritual master, His Grace Vaishyadas Adhikari, is going to be in Toronto from Thursday, August 27th to Wednesday, August 27th, 21 August to 27 August. So following Saturday means 23rd, we will not have classes. There are various sessions. Those who are locally can attend. Those who are far away, I will send links. There are a lot of service opportunities. All of you can please try. Now, I have said multiple times that some of you still did not complete your Vibhuti Yoga spiritual endeavor. This is not appropriate. This was your last opportunity to see that you started this exercise in chapter 1, where you all were saying you can only see material manifestation. Now we have done this exercise for the third time. We did this same exercise at the start of chapter 7, and now we did this exercise again here at chapter 10. So those of you who did not complete, you missed out on a very important spiritual endeavor for you to be able to compare, to move from material vision to spiritual vision. I cannot help you if you do not do your endeavor. Now, again, mandatory spiritual endeavor for the next class. Everybody please take note that before start of chapter 11 on universal form, populate your answers on a Google form by next Wednesday, although you have more time because we don't have classes for next 2 weeks, but you don't have to wait. So question number 1, mandatory question number 1, please describe what do you know about the universal form. Mandatory question number 2. So it's either question number 1 and or question number 2. Question number 2 is, what would you like to know about the universal form? So either you know or something you would like to know. Either way, all of you should be able to complete your spiritual endeavor. There's no reason not to complete your spiritual endeavor. All right. I have done a lot of talking today. Thank you all for joining early. as well as thank you all for tolerating 5 extra minutes for our class, even beyond the early start. Thank you all. Hare Krishna. Will stop here.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.